Kings. The death of Elisha and kings of Judah and Israel. Boy King Joash of Judah. Everything else that King Joash did was recorded in the history of the kings of Judah. Joash died and was buried in the royal tombs in David's city, and his son Amaziah succeeded him as king. King Jehoahaz of Israel. Everything else that Jehoahaz did and all his brave deeds are recorded in the history of the kings of Israel. He died and was buried in Samaria, and his son Jehoash succeeded him as king. The death of Elisha. The prophet Elisha fell ill with a fatal disease, and as he lay dying, King Jehoash of Israel went to visit him. My father, he exclaimed as he wept. Elisha said, "You have been a mighty defender of Israel," and ordered him, "Get a bow and some arrows." Jehoash got them, and Elisha told him to get ready to shoot. The king did so, and Elisha placed his hands on the king's hands. Then, following the prophet's instructions, the king opened the window that faced towards Syria. "Shoot the arrow," Elisha ordered. As soon as the king shot the arrow, the prophet exclaimed, "You are the Lord's arrow, with which he will win victory over Syria. You will fight the Syrians in Aphek until you defeat them." Then Elisha told the king to take the other arrows and strike the ground with them. The king struck the ground 3 times and then stopped. This made Elisha angry, and he said to the king, "You should have struck 5 or 6 times, and then you would have won complete victory over the Syrians. But now you will defeat them only 3 times. Later, Elisha died and was buried. War between Israel and Syria. King Hazael of Syria oppressed the Israelites during all of Jehoahaz's reign, but the Lord was kind and merciful to them. He would not let them be destroyed, but helped them because of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He has never forgotten his people. At the death of King Hazael of Syria, his son Ben-Hadad became king. Then King Jehoash of Israel defeated Ben-Hadad 3 times as Elisha said, and recaptured the cities that had been taken by Ben-Hadad during the reign of King Jehoahaz, the father of King Jehoash. King Amaziah of Judah. In the 2nd year of the reign of King Jehoash of Israel, Amaziah, son of Joash, became king of Judah at the age of 25, and he ruled in Jerusalem for 29 years. His mother was Jehoiadin from Jerusalem. He did what was pleasing to the Lord, like his father Joash had done. Amaziah killed 10,000 Edomite soldiers in Salt Valley. He captured the city of Selah in battle and called it Jotham, the name it still has. Then Amaziah sent messengers to King Jehoash of Israel, challenging him to fight. But King Jehoash sent back the following reply: "Amaziah, you have defeated the Edomites, and you are filled with pride. Be satisfied with your fame and stay at home. Why stir up trouble that will only bring disaster on you and your people?" But Amaziah refused to listen, so King Jehoash marched out with his men and fought against him at Beth-Shemesh in Judah. Amaziah's army was defeated, and all his soldiers fled to their homes. Jehoash took Amaziah prisoner, advanced on Jerusalem, and tore down the city wall from Ephraim gate to the corner gate, a distance of nearly 200 meters. He took all the silver and gold he could find, all the temple equipment and all the palace treasures, and carried them back to Samaria. Everything else that Jehoash did, including his bravery in the war against King Amaziah of Judah, is recorded in the history of the kings of Israel. Jehoash died and was buried in the royal tombs in Samaria, and his son Jeroboam II succeeded him as king. King Amaziah of Judah lived 15 years after the death of King Jehoash of Israel. Everything else that Amaziah did was recorded in the history of the kings of Judah. There was a plot in Jerusalem to assassinate Amaziah, so he fled to the city of Lachish. But his enemies followed him there and killed him. His body was carried back to Jerusalem on a horse and was buried in the royal tombs in David's city. The people of Judah then crowned his 16-year-old son Uzziah as king. King Jeroboam II of Israel. In the 15th year of the reign of Amaziah, son of Joash, as king of Judah, Jeroboam II, son of Jehoash, became king of Israel, and he ruled in Samaria for 41 years. He sinned against the Lord, following the wicked example of his predecessor King Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who led Israel into sin. He reconquered all the territory that had belonged to Israel, from Hamath Pass in the north to the Dead Sea in the south. The Lord saw the terrible suffering of the Israelites. There was no one at all to help them. But it was not the Lord's purpose to destroy Israel completely and forever. So he rescued through King Jeroboam II. Everything else that Jeroboam II did, his brave battles, and how he restored Damascus and Hamath to Israel, all are recorded in the history of the kings of Israel. Jeroboam II died and was buried in the royal tombs, and his son Zechariah succeeded him as king. King Uzziah of Judah. In the 27th year of the reign of King Jeroboam II of Israel, Uzziah, son of Amaziah, became king of Judah at the age of 16, and he ruled in Jerusalem for 52 years. His mother was Jecoliah from Jerusalem. Following the example of his father, he did what was pleasing to the Lord. But the pagan places of worship were not destroyed, and the people continued to offer sacrifices and burn incense there. The Lord struck Uzziah with a dreaded skin disease that stayed with him the rest of his life. He lived in a house on his own, relieved of all duties, while his son Jotham governed the country. Everything else that Uzziah did is recorded in the history of the kings of Judah. Uzziah died and was buried in the royal burial ground in David's city, and his son Jotham succeeded him as king. King Zechariah of Israel. In the 38th year of the reign of King Uzziah of Judah, Zechariah, son of Jeroboam II, became king of Israel, and he ruled in Samaria for 6 months. He too sinned against Lord. Shallum, son of Jabesh, conspired against King Zechariah, assassinated him at Ibleam, and succeeded him as king. King Shallum of Israel. In the 39th year of the reign of King Uzziah of Judah, Shallum, son of Jabesh, became king of Israel, and he ruled in Samaria for 1 month. Menahem, son of Gadi, went from Tirzah to Samaria, assassinated Shallum, and succeeded him as king. As Menahem was on his way from Tirzah, he completely destroyed the city of Tappuah, its inhabitants, and the surrounding territory, because the city did not surrender to him. He even ripped open the bellies of all pregnant women. King Menahem of Israel. In the 39th year of the reign of King Uzziah of Judah, Menahem son of Gadi became king of Israel, and he ruled in Samaria for 10 years. He sinned against the Lord, for until the day of his death. Tiglath-Pileser, the emperor of Assyria, invaded Israel, and Menahem gave him 34,000 kilograms of silver to gain his support in strengthening Menahem's power over the country. Menahem got the money from the rich men of Israel by forcing each one to contribute 50 pieces of silver. So Tiglath-Pileser went back to his own country. Menahem died and was buried, and his son Pekahiah succeeded him as king. King Pekahiah of Israel. In the 15th year of the reign of King Uzziah of Judah, Pekahiah son of Menahem became king of Israel, and he ruled in Samaria for 2 years. He too sinned against the Lord. An officer of Pekahiah's forces, Pekah, son of Remaliah, plotted with 50 men from Gilead, assassinated Pekahiah in the palace inner fortress in Samaria, and succeeded him as king. King Pekah of Israel. In the 52nd year of the reign of King Uzziah of Judah, Pekah, son of Remaliah, became king of Israel, and he ruled in Samaria for 20 years. He too sinned against the Lord. It was while Pekah was king that Tiglath-Pileser, the emperor of Assyria, captured the cities of Aizon, Abel, Beth Makkah, Joanna, Kadesh, and Hazor, and the territories of Gilead, Galilee, and Naphtali, and took the people to Assyria as prisoners. Hoshia, son of Elah, plotted against King Pekah, assassinated him, and succeeded him as king. King Jotham of Judah. In the 2nd year of the reign of Pekah, son of Remaliah, as king of Israel, Jotham, son of Uzziah, became king of Judah at the age of 25, and he ruled in Jerusalem for 16 years. His mother was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. Following the example of his father Uzziah, Jotham did what was pleasing to the Lord. But the pagan places of worship were not destroyed, and the people continued to offer sacrifices and burn incense there. It was Jotham who built the north gate of the temple. It was while he was king that the Lord first sent King Rezin of Syria and King Pekah of Israel to attack Judah. Jotham died and was buried in the royal tombs in David's city, and his son Ahaz succeeded him as king. King Ahaz of Judah. In the 17th year of the reign of Pekah, son of Remaliah, as king of Israel, Ahaz, son of Jotham, became king of Judah at the age of 20, and he ruled in Jerusalem for 16 years. He did not follow the good example of his ancestor King David. Instead, he did what was not pleasing to the Lord his God, and followed the example of the kings of Israel. He even sacrificed his own son as a burnt offering to the idols. At the pagan places of worship, on the hills, and under every shady tree, Ahaz offered sacrifices and burnt incense. King Rezin of Syria and King Pekah of Israel attacked Jerusalem and besieged it, but could not defeat Ahaz. Ahaz sent men to Tiglath-Pileser, the emperor of Assyria, with this message: I am your devoted servant. Come and rescue me from the kings of Syria and of Israel who are attacking me. Ahaz took the silver and gold from the temple and the palace treasury and sent it as a present to the emperor. Tiglath-Pileser, in answer to Ahaz's plea, marched out with his army against Syria, captured it, killed King Rezin, and took the people to kill as prisoners. King Ahaz of Judah. Ahaz made an altar similar to Tiglath-Pileser and made many burnt and grain offerings on it. He made many changes in the temple altars and basins. And in order to please the Assyrian Emperor Tiglath-Pileser, Ahaz also removed from the temple the platform for the royal throne and closed up the king's private entrance to the temple. Ahaz died and was buried in the royal tombs in David's city, and his son Hezekiah succeeded him as king. King Hoshia of Israel. In the 12th year of the reign of King Ahaz of Judah, Hoshia, son of Elah, became king of Israel, and he ruled in Samaria for 9 years. He sinned against the Lord, but not as much as the kings who had ruled Israel before him. Emperor Shalmaneser of Assyria made war against him. Hoshea surrendered to Shalmaneser and paid him tribute every year. But one year Hoshea sent messengers to So, the king of Egypt, asking for his help, and stopped paying the annual tribute to Assyria. When Shalmaneser learnt of this, he had Hoshea arrested and put him in prison.